Hey guys, what up? It's Dan, aka Hoop Sneakers. Welcome back into the Hoops Sneakers YouTube channel or the IGTV or wherever else you may be viewing this video. Today I've got the performance review of these guys right here. This is the Anta GH1, this particular colorway being the girls' artwork. And for more details and information on that, you can check out the unboxing video that is here on the channel. I'll link to it there or there or something like that. In the interest of full disclosure, in the interest of transparency, Anta Sports were kind enough to send these my way. So I do greatly appreciate the team over at Anta for that. But just do be aware that these were gifted to me for free. And so what I'm attempting to do is to give you guys the most objective and unbiased review that I can, with the understanding that I was gifted these. So with that being said, we'll probably just get things started off with the traction. So the traction on the Anta GH1 performs really well across most surfaces. So it's a solid rubber outsole. It's quite a thick and durable rubber. I didn't experience much, if any, fraying or damage occurring to any of the pattern of the grooves while testing outdoors, which is where the majority of the testing of this sneaker did take place. So I don't know if you can see that really well, but for the outsole of the GH1, you have two distinctly different traction patterns. So on the forefoot, you have three traction pods, which are made up of a radial pattern, which is quite tight and tightly spaced. Then at the midfoot and the heel is a tiger stripe style pattern, which is much more widely spaced. So what I found with these guys is the best surface that I found they worked on was an outdoor surface that was really smooth and free of any debris. So something like a concrete or a multi-purpose style surface, or almost something, I think, like a tennis court style surface. They did work well indoors on hardwood, like on a clean court. Dust didn't have too much of an impact at all. They don't squeak very much. They're kind of a quieter traction, but they still do the job. The surface on which I did experience some minor issues was like an asphalt or a blacktop court where there was some loose surface or debris present. So what would happen is if I was going to plant to change direction or doing like a crossover dribble move, as I planted my foot, I might just skid out laterally just slightly, and I think that's to do with just how tight and compact these grooves are at the forefoot. And so I would just skid out or slide just very slightly until the traction re-engaged, and I bit back onto the surface. But once it's pretty minor. So once you're aware of it, then you can sort of adjust for it and factor that in, and then you can go ahead and make your moves, just understanding that you might just need to be aware of that small issue there. But yeah, definitely say that the GH1s are suitable for outdoors with the traction. There has been, like I said, very minimal signs of use or wear in that regard. So moving on from the traction up onto the cushion, the midsole, so the remainder of the tooling. So what is offered with the Anta GH1 is what Anta calls A flash foam. So their A flash foam is an ETPU, which is an expanded thermoplastic polyurethane. An example of a more widely known ETPU that has been implemented by a brand would be Boost from Adidas, which is also an ETPU. So it gives you the best of everything. So it's quite thick, and there's quite a lot of cushion here. So you've got plushness up in the back for heavy heel strikes, and so impact protection coming down on hard landings. Whereas in the front, it's very sort of springy. You get a small amount of bounce, but there's no real lag. And I think that is mainly due to the fact that just at the lateral forefoot here, there is a sort of a rubbery TPU caging piece, which contains the foam there. Not only does that aid support, which we'll talk about later, but it does add to the responsiveness of the cushion at the forefoot, and it's also a much thinner cushion at the forefoot than it is towards the heel of the sneaker. So yeah, look, like I said at the beginning of this segment, you get the best of both worlds. You get impact protection, you get a plushness, you get some springiness, you get cork feel, and then so again, cushion setup is really suited to outdoor use as well because it's full length, and it's a really good compound. It does a great job. So moving on to the fit, so the Anta GH1 runs pretty narrow. So definitely keep that in mind or be aware of that if you're looking to get a pair. So I consider myself to be a wide footer. I'm quite a wide footer. So I would definitely, so these are my true size, which is a US men's 11. If I had the opportunity to do so, I would go to an 11.5. Anta doesn't offer an 11.5 at retail. This is the largest size they offer at retail, so this was the only option to me. So in that regard, I mean, overall it's very, very snug, very snug. So if you're somebody, if you're a wide footer that likes that really snug, almost one-to-one fit, and you're happy to break them in and spend some time breaking them in, then you can go true to size. So the way I've thought about it is this way. So like, if you're somebody who is a normal width footer and you want a snug fit, go true to size. If you're a narrow footer, go true to size. If you're a normal width foot who wants a little bit of extra room, or you're a wide footer, then go up half a size. And if you're a wide footer that wants a really, really snug fit, you go true to size. But just keep that in mind. Obviously, with this being an international brand, with Anta being a Chinese brand, so this is a Chinese sneaker, it is not easy to try them on in store, if not impossible, to try them on in store. So keep that in mind that they run narrow, but there's not super amounts of length or anything, so they do run pretty true to size in terms of length. Just the width is narrow. Now, so we've covered off traction, cushion, fit. So support in the Anta GH1 is another one of its standout categories, in my opinion. Considering it is a low top sneaker, there's ample support features, most of which are standard nowadays in performance basketball sneakers, but Anta does them each really well in this particular model. So to start off with, it starts with the tooling. So you've got this forefoot here, which is really flat, and it's really super wide. I don't know if you can see how wide that is. So here on this lateral side, it really flares out at the forefoot, and it's really exaggerated. So that acts as your lateral outrigger right there. So you do feel really, really protected and supported and contained on lateral movements due to that really wide base. In addition to that, that piece that I talked about earlier that cages up the cushion also acts as a support piece, because it actually comes up probably about half a centimetre to 2/3 of a centimetre, and that acts as like a lateral bumper or a barrier for your forefoot there. So you don't actually sit too far within the midsole of this sneaker, but this piece here actually does come up and wraps around your lateral forefoot to keep you on top of the footbed there, and then obviously that forms that part of that lateral flare that becomes your outrigger. And then there is a midfoot torsional shank plate, which, so you got a fair bit of rigidity to this sneaker. It doesn't over twist too much, cause any distress in that regard. There's a really sturdy internal heel counter, a really strong one, and then in addition to that, there's also an external heel counter, which is made out of a similar material to this piece up front. So yeah, you've got, flat wide forefoot, bumper on the lateral side, torsional shank, internal, external heel counter, and you have a really snug and secure lacing system. So within, there's also an elastic band that runs across the midfoot here, the top of the midfoot, for additional like lockdown. Then the lacing system is really secure. It utilizes the nylon bands or nylon strands that were present in something like a Jordan 11. So they've been popularized by Air Jordan models of past, and they also really make sure your foot stays where it's supposed to, and you're not going across over on any ankles. So that covers off support. Like I said, one of the standout categories of this sneaker. And then finally is the materials. So this is there's no like real premium raw materials on this sneaker, but there's not really the presence of much fuse or plastic or anything like that. So it's all it's mainly textiles and synthetics. So starting at the forefoot, you do have a knit material. It is it does sort of have some small amounts of fuse backing, especially around the toe rand there, just for more protection against any toe drags or having your foot stepped on. So there's a knit up front, so like a textile knit material mesh, and then as you move through to the midfoot and heel section, so Anta calls this a web, and then at the midfoot and towards the heel, it's another textile backed by a synthetic called a shock fiber. And as I said in the unboxing video, it's a really tightly woven textile, which almost reminds me of like a canvas, something you'd find on a Chuck Taylor or a Vans sneaker. But it doesn't, like overstretch. And it's reasonably like breathable. Like you don't get really hot in this sneaker or anything like that. So like the materials, like they're nothing super amazing or special, but at the same time they're not super like budget or like plasticky or tacky or anything like that. They strike a good balance of what Anta's offering for the price, and they also are what you would come to expect from any modern or contemporary performance basketball sneaker, in that they're striving for a lightweight and a minimal break-in time. So that's pretty much it for the Anta GH1s. That pretty much takes care of the performance review on these guys. If you're asking me would I recommend them, I absolutely would. For anybody that's looking for a low top basketball sneaker that they can use both indoors and outdoors at a pretty decent price. Speaking of which, there is a full written performance review to go along with this video, available over on the Hoop Sneakers website, which is hoopsneakers.wordpress.com. So you can go to the Hoop Sneakers website, check out the full written review. That review includes their price, their weight, and the score I gave the sneaker. So with all that being said, like I said, you can also go back and check out the unboxing video for more details on this colorway. But without further ado, that pretty much takes care of it for the performance review on the Anta GH1. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.